Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talent to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hello, and welcome to the Giver Marketing broadcast. It is Tuesday, obviously, because we always do the broadcast on Tuesdays. And a big shout out to our Giver Marketing Network, in addition to all of our wonderful groups and collaborations that we have. Hello to Selling with Dignity, Prepared Group, Kingdom Warriors. We have so many groups that we collaborate with. And if you want to be one of those groups, reach out to us. We love our family. So I am Christine Deane, your team director. Now, many of you know me in that role. However, you may not be aware that I also have my own business, The Networking Diva. And so I love diving into the marketing. If you're not familiar with Giver Marketing, we are actually a whole collaboration of different independent marketers working together, or different agencies. So we love collaborating, and that's what we do. So I am excited today because I have the opportunity to talk about one of my favorite nerdy topics, and that is CRMs. So customer relationship management software. If that's not something you normally play with and you cringe when you hear those words, don't worry. I'm going to show you all the bells and whistles and why it's so cool. And you're going to be like, I want that for my business if you don't already have it. If you already have it and it makes you a little nervous, or you're thinking, am I really doing it right? Am I getting the most out of it? Well, hopefully today we'll give you some ideas on how you can better use it to accelerate your business. So I am so excited because we're talking about how to increase success with CRM automations. So we've got some slides here. We're going to talk about some ideas. There's a lot of different CRMs out there. There's a lot of different choices on what you might want to use. Go High Level is one of my favorites, whether it's the standard or the white label versions, but we've worked with clients on all sorts of different ones, from Zoho to HubSpot, right? So whatever CRM it is that you are in love with or you're wanting to try, come talk to us. We'd be glad to tell you some of the pros and cons of each of them, because they all are great and all of them always have something that you don't like as much. And that's okay too. CRMs are kind of like choosing the best evil. But they're so important. They really are. They have opportunities to just accelerate your business in a way that you just cannot do without it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about CRMs. And today we're going to talk about the importance of CRMs and automations first. And let's talk about that, because automations are so beneficial for your business or your nonprofit. This isn't just businesses, right? So when you think, okay, well, I've got a nonprofit, do I really need a CRM? Yes, you do, because you don't want any of your donors or potential donors to fall between the cracks, right? And be like, oh, that's right, there was that business card from somebody that wanted to give me money. Gee, I wish I hadn't lost that, right? That's not something that you want to say, right? And for businesses, right, you've got prospects also. You don't want to lose those. So your CRM is the best way to keep you organized. So when you start automating some of the processes in there, you're really going to reduce the manual workload, because you think about repetitive tasks that you've done over and over again. Yeah. And for example, if you like to go on LinkedIn, right, and you might want to send a message out to a few people, now you're copying and pasting over and over and over again, right? Or in Messenger on Facebook, or text messages, right? And you're like, oh, my fingers are so tired from copying and pasting, right? So if you don't want to do that, you want an automation that does it for you, right? It enhances the response times, right? Have you ever sent something, for example, you've booked an appointment with somebody and instantly you got a response saying, great, you're confirmed. You're like, oh, that was fast, right? So it's nice to have that fast response time. And the automations let you do that, right? And it improves your overall efficiency, right? When you think about where you're spending your time in your business, do you want to spend it working on the little mundane task, or do you want all that done for you so you don't have to? Right? And ultimately, it leads to increased productivity and better resource allocation within the organization. Say what? Right. So think about where you put your time. You're going to be most productive when you're actually doing things that only you can do for your business, as opposed to menial tasks that an automation can take care of. Right. And so you can use the time and people and your money where it makes sense, right? Instead of wasting your time doing things that are just repetitive. But that's just part of it. I love CRMs. There are so many different kinds of automations inside the CRM that it's mind blowing. Once you start diving in and you start realizing what it can do for you, you start looking at your CRM in a whole new light. Right. And it's not unusual for new business owners when they start out, right? They've got a big box of, business cards and you're like, what do I do with all this? Put it in your CRM. Right. So it's a great thing to start off with right when you start your business. You want to get organized with a CRM right off the bat, because you don't want to lose all those opportunities. So I highly recommend it if you're a startup, or maybe you're looking for something more advanced. You've got a growing business and you're like, ooh, we need to get our systems in place because we really want to scale and grow. And if you don't get those systems in place now, right, it's going to be a lot harder to play catch up later. There's nothing worse than going through your phone, your emails, and everything else. And you're like, oh, I have like 5,000 contacts from my mailing list, but I never put them together. It takes a really long time to gather all that and clean it up so that you can put it into your CRM. So start doing it right away. It's so painful to do later, right? So let's talk a little about some of those game-changing CRM automations, and you're going to love these. Okay. Let's first look at the lead capture and nurturing. This is one of the best ways that you can use your CRM. Okay, lead capture. So you've got a prospect, right? You want to grab their information and then you want to nurture them along so they go from prospect to client or customer, right? So lead capture, that's the goal. So when we look at that and you say, what does that have to do with CRMs? Well, your CRM gives you an opportunity to have those automated follow-ups that you can use to nurture your leads, right? So it's that immediate engagement response, right? Automated follow-ups ensure instant communication with your lead, as opposed to, oh, I'll get to that later. Oops, later didn't happen, right? When you can respond to somebody when they're hot and they're interested in what you've got going on, right? It keeps that momentum going. If you give them time to think about it, they'll be like, maybe I don't need that, or maybe I'll go look at this other thing instead, right? You want to strike while it's hot. So when you can do an immediate response on something that someone's interested in already, right? Keep that going. You got a better chance of converting them into an actual client or customer. So really important right there. But there's more. Right? Your automated follow-ups also, it's a data-driven personalization. You're like, what? So utilization CRM analytics. Okay. You have an opportunity to look and see who's doing what they've done, and then you can act on it. Right. So you can personalize those messages. So it's not just generic, hey, whoever, and you don't have to change the name every time because you're copying and pasting, right? Now you can actually have that in the CRM where it'll actually personalize it, right? And you can see what that exact person has been doing as it relates to your business. So you can kind of see what they're up to, what they're interested in, right? So you've got the data right there. Until you start tracking your data, you don't know what's going on. You might hope for the best, but until you start tracking it, you really don't know. So tracking it is so important. Other part is that timely reminders for action. So the automated system can send those reminders out for you. For example, the abandoned cart, right? Like, oh, I was going to buy that and then I got distracted, right? We've got a million things going on during our day and we get so busy sometimes that we forget. And I'll come back and be like, oh, I have 20 windows open. Oh, I wanted to purchase that. Oh, I forgot to sign that, right? So there's things in there that we want to do, but we get distracted. So sometimes that abandoned cart, reminding them, hey, you wanted this. Yes, I did. Thanks for the reminder, right? Maybe there's an upcoming event. Have you ever missed an event and you're like, oh, shoot, I really wanted to do that, and I totally forgot and it wasn't on my calendar? Well, timely reminders. Oh, here's a text message telling me I need to be somewhere right now. Let me make that happen, right? So really, you keep the momentum going when you're reminding people to come back to you, whatever it is that you're doing, right? That's the whole goal. Keep them interested in what you're doing, right? Now, in addition, part of this whole lead generation and nurturing process, right? Lead scoring is important. Now, you might be saying, lead scoring, what in the world is that? Is it like, a touchdown? What's going on? That's the goal, is the touchdown, right? But lead scoring really is talking about assigning points to a lead based on their actions and engagement. Okay, so wrap your mind around that. So they do something and you go, ooh, I like when they do that. That means they're interested in my business. I'm going to give them points when they do that. Oh, and they did this and I like that. So I'm going to give them points for that. Right. So that really looks at as their numbers grow, you see that they're interacting more with your business. Maybe they're hanging out at your website. Maybe they're filling out a form. Maybe they're downloading something. Maybe they're following you on social media. Right. So each one of those points are going to add score. Right. And your score is going to go up. So now you can figure out, oh, this one's interacted a lot. That's somebody that I want to talk to, as opposed to, oh, that one didn't interact very much, so they're probably not as interested. Right? Maybe they need more information, or maybe they've decided to go with someone else. You don't know. Right. But by looking at the score, you can see where to put your energy. So lead scoring is a great part of your CRM. Right. So if you have the more things that you can look at for the scoring, the more things that you're scoring, the better the chances you can have an accurate reflection of what their interest level is. Right. So you can basically rank them. So this one has done 5 interactions with my business. This one's done 2. Okay. This one's further along the customer journey that I want them to go on. Right. So you can concentrate your sales efforts on those that are interested in what you're actually selling or what the problem that you're solving. Right. So when we think about targeted resource allocation, right? But if you can identify those high scoring leads, somebody's been to my website 5 times, they've attended 5 different events with me, they've got to be getting close to buying at some point, right? Oh, they booked an appointment with me, even better, right? And you can use your resources more effectively and put the energy where it needs to go, right? Those that are closer to that, ready to make a decision. Right? So we want to convert them from that prospect side into an actual client. So you want to put your time and energy where it's going to be most useful. A lot of times I found that with small business owners, they get so excited about somebody expressing interest. Okay, well, yeah, they clicked on one thing in one email and they haven't opened any other emails in the last 5 you sent. Maybe not as interested as you had hoped, right? So just because someone shows a little hint of interest doesn't mean they're ready to actually have that conversation, that conversion conversation, right? It takes multiple touches for them to build that trust with you. So by paying attention to that score, you can see where they are in the journey and if it's time for you to step in. Now, here's another big part of it: tagging and segmentation for targeted messaging. I love tagging. Tagging is like your magic sprinkle dust that you put on your contacts so you can keep track of who is who and what they do and what they like and what they don't like, right? So it's adding labels basically to your people. And you can have a dozen labels. You can have more depending on what your areas of interest are and what theirs are, right? So what are the characteristics that define them, right? So for me, let's see, I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother, right? So what kinds of things? Oh, grandparents love to buy things for the grandchildren. Okay, she's good for that, right? So those different characteristics, our interests and our behaviors, right? The more you can tag your potential clients and your potential customers on their areas of interest and what they're doing, the better you can then direct whatever it is that you've got towards them, whatever that product, that service is that they're going to want, right? So pay attention to that and use that tagging tool within your CRM. So it's like sticking a sticky note, right, on each person. And the sticky note on my forehead says, sucker grandma, okay? So what happens though is it lets you personalize things for that exact person. So really when you're looking at tagging for a business, you want to look at those customer traits, right? This way you can target exactly what they're interested in. That's really going to be important for your for your next phase in your marketing, right? Now, when we talk about tagging, okay, so what kinds of things can you tag? And this list is huge. And this is just a few ideas that kind of get your mind thinking, okay, so maybe it's demographic information, like what's their job title, right? Why would that matter? Well, are they a decision maker? Right? It's okay. The job title, maybe they are the gatekeeper for the decision maker, right? Maybe this is the office manager, or maybe this is the receptionist desk, maybe, right? What do we need to do to get past that person to the person we really want to talk to? Right? So job title could be important. Company size, right? Because our strategies might change depending on who we're trying to talk to, right? How big is that company? What are we trying to sell them? If you come to a large organization and you're like, I've got a product, it's going to be $1,000 for the whole enterprise, they're going to look at you like, what? Are you kidding me? We spend that much on a luncheon for just the team, right? So you got to think about what you've got, what you're offering, and is it appropriate for that company size? It doesn't mean that you're never going to sell that company size. It could be you just don't have the right product or service yet, and that's okay. But you want to be able to keep them in your CRM so you know to come back to them when you're ready. Right? Maybe you're looking at the industries. For me, as the networking diva, I love categorizing people according to industry. So when I say, oh, I've got somebody that's requesting lead generation, I can type in my CRM lead generation, and everybody who's involved in that pops up. And I go, oh, let's see, for this person, that's probably a good fit right here. Right? Or maybe I'm looking for those that like to host events. Right? So I might put in, event host, and I can find all those. Okay, let me let them know that there's new great tool is coming out. Let me tell them about that. Right. So maybe you have things organized by industry, or maybe it's by location. You've got a business and it's in person, but it's also online, right? So you've got that local and you've got that national. So maybe it's important to know, who are my local people, because I want to host an event and I want to be able to invite my local people, right? As opposed to, well, the one in Japan's probably not flying in for that event, but you never know, right? So location might be important. That's just the demographics. Right. So imagine how many tags you've got going right now. Now we get into the behavioral side, right? So are they engaging on your website? How many times, right? So are they getting a little something in the CRM every time that they're engaging, right? Are they downloading a resource? What did they download? Because if you just say, yeah, downloaded resource, you don't know what their area of interest is. But if you have a special tag for everything they download, and I know when I work with my coaches, they're saying, okay, here's what they did. This is what they downloaded. Okay. And they've done 5 things in that area. Let me drop a call. Let me see how they're doing, if they have any questions about that. Right? Starting to understand their behaviors so that you can anticipate what they might want. Right. If you're finding a lot of people are coming in and they're looking at the same concept, and that's a hot topic, right? Maybe you want to have a whole drip series on that specifically. Maybe you want to do a webinar on that, right? But once you know how they're behaving, now you can adjust your marketing to match it. Right. So it could be maybe they clicked on something in an email. I was working with a client just recently, and we went through and all of the links in her newsletter, right? We went ahead and had that so it was trackable, so we could see how many people are clicking on what, so we know what their areas of interest are. Right. So replying, are they replying? Are they submitting those forms? Are they attending events? Right. These are all different things that you can track. And it kind of helps you gauge their level of interest in what you're offering. More types of tags, right? So engagement level. So frequency of interactions. Are they doing it a lot? Are they doing a little? Are they not very interested, right? How recent is it? And this is a hard part, right? If you're not organized with your CRM, what happens is we end up with that big box of cards and nobody's really recent now, because you didn't hit them at the time that they said, oh yeah, call me. And you forgot and you didn't call them, right? Get those into the CRM, right? So how recent are those leads? The more recent ones are going to be the hot ones. The other ones that you haven't talked to, and that card's been sitting at the bottom of your purse or the bottom of your desk for the last 2 years, they may not even remember you if you haven't talked to them since then, right? So how recent is it, right? And their channels, is it phone calls? Is it text messages? Is it how being able to keep track of that makes it so much easier to see, oh, I actually have talked to that person quite a bit. I should probably find out if I can help them, right? And big one is, how do they fit with your ideal customer profile? So is it in alignment with your target audience, right? If this is when you're like, I really want to talk to CEOs. Oh, this one's a CEO. Oh, they've responded 5 different times. They're the decision maker. I definitely want to talk to this person, right? Or, they're feeling that pain points, right? And that you can help them with it. So if they're expressing that your product solves their problem, then they're going to be more excited, right? If it's somebody's like, I'm not really having that problem. Well, they're probably not real high on that score we were talking about lead scores, right? They're not real high because they don't feel the need for you yet. Sometimes they don't even know that they have the problem. So that's a whole nother issue. Are you talking to somebody who can say yes and can budget this and has the authority to say yes? Those are the kinds of people you want to talk to. But once again, you got to be careful, because just glancing at something, opening one email, or maybe responding to a post on social media doesn't necessarily guarantee that they're ready to buy now. Okay, so keep the line of communication open, but just realize it takes time to build that trust with you. So some tips on tagging and segmenting. Okay, negative scoring. So if they unsubscribe from your emails, well, you probably want that scoring system to deduct points. Okay. That's a pretty good sign that they're probably not interested. Every once in a while, someone will unsubscribe accidentally. And so they'll be like, I don't get your newsletter anymore. And I'll look in the CRM and go, well, you unsubscribed. Did you want to resubscribe? Yes, please. Okay. Right. But usually it means that they're not interested in what you're doing. And it could be, somebody told me a long time ago that in sales, it's not that the answer is no, it's not now. So maybe your product or service isn't right for them at this moment. Okay. So just got to keep that in the back of your mind, right? If they're an inactive lead, right, reduce those scores for people that aren't interacting with you, right? Because they're just kind of taking up space in your CRM. So you don't need to put them on a priority list. You probably don't need to spend a lot of time with them. And that's okay. Part of knowing your leads is knowing who's interested, who's not, and putting your energy where it makes the most sense, right? If they're not interested, don't put your energy there. That's okay. Put your energy somewhere else where it makes more sense. Okay. So important considerations, right? Weighting. You want to assign those higher point values to the actions that indicate stronger intent. Okay. So just posting or commenting on a social media post, not such a big deal. Signing up for the event, that's better. Attending the event, even better. Right? And then booking that follow-up call with you that you mentioned during your webinar. Excellent. Right? So the lead score, really, you got to look at what are the big ones, right? What's a little one? It's like a little score. And then which are the big ones you're like, yeah, this is a good sign that they're interested in what I have. Right? So if you're a new business owner, especially pay attention to the second one, threshold. Set a minimum score for leads to be considered sales ready. That might look different depending on your business. If you have a long sales cycle, right, that might be a lot of little touches over a long period of time. If it's something where you normally, 3 calls and you're done, or is it 2 calls, right? Most people, it takes a little bit longer. So look at what is the minimum number before you even start getting into that. Let me reach out and have a conversation with them. So that might take a little research to take a look at with your salespeople or yourself and say, how many times do I have to talk to somebody before I can close a deal, right? How many times do they need to interact with my brand before that's ready to close? So you want to think about, when are they sales ready? And that's really important, because if you start approaching them too soon and you're trying to get pushy with them, right, they don't like that. They say you can only go at the speed of trust, right? So when they're ready and they trust you, then you can have those kind of conversations with them. If they're not ready yet, you're going to push them away if you do it too soon, right? So regular review, go in. I know we like to set it and forget it, but this is reality. And reality, you don't get to set it and forget it. You got to set it and then you got to go test it, and you got to set it and then you got to go check it, and then you got to review it, right? So go back in, just because you're looking pretty good, still go back in once in a while and take a look and say, is our scoring system working? If you're thinking, oh, look, they've hit that minimum threshold, and then we talked to them interacted with them another 5 times and they're still not ready. Well, so maybe your minimum threshold needs to be a little bit higher, right? If you're finding that they're not ready to convert at that point. So take a look at your system and see what works well for your organization. All right, so we talked about tagging, lead score tagging, right? And so all this comes into the segmentation idea. So think about segmentation. This is the process of dividing your audience into smaller groups, right? Based on their shared characteristics. So this group is all the moms, but at the same time, are all moms the same? No, you have older moms, you have younger moms, you have new moms, right? You moms of teenagers, right? So you can't just put everybody, this is just the mom category. The more you can segment that down, the more valuable it becomes, okay? So this could be divided amongst characteristics, demographics, right? So when you start looking at my ideal person for this exact product or service, what do I need to take into consideration? Like I said, grandma's a sucker for baby products. So, whatever those characteristics are, you want to make sure, right? Does she have the money to spend? Yes, that's very important, right? Grandchildren? Yes, all those little things, you want to make sure that you're tagging those, right? So basically, think of your segmentation as slicing your pie into different pieces, and each piece represents a segment of your audience with its own unique flavor. So if you've ever been to the store and you said, "Ooh, look at that. It's got the cheesecake and it's got all these different flavors." Keep that in mind when you're thinking about your audience segmentation. Each one has their own flavor and you got to appeal to it a certain way, right? So that really lets you work with them in bulk. So instead of doing things on a one-on-one, now you're getting those automations in play, right? Where you can take all the moms that are young kids under the 5 and they're going to be great for this particular product, right? So think about your audience and how you can segment them in a way that makes sense for your business. So when you have them segmented, now you have the opportunity to look at those insights on their behavior. You can see how they're acting as kind of as a group, right? And you can adjust your campaigns based on what you're seeing, what's evolving through that process, right? Now that you've got them all kind of together, right? And you can optimize your campaign because when you're tagging and changing, and you can make sure what's relevant is going to the right people, right? So all that you can do inside your CRM with automations as you start adding those tags. Your CRM is only as good as the information you put into it and as good as you tag. You can have a list of 10,000 people in your CRM, but if they're not tagged well, it's going to be very hard to use it in any way that's useful. Okay? That's a huge part with the tagging. Okay. So that whole lead nurturing, that whole side of it is just one of the things that you can do in your CRM, right? The other thing, and this is one of my favorites also, is the appointment and event scheduling and reminders. Oh my goodness, it makes it a breeze. Think about it. If you last time you talked to somebody, you said, "Hey, I'd love to chat. Do you have a booking link?" And they go, "No." And you're like, "Oh, this is going to take some time to find the right time," right? How many emails can you send back and forth going, "Oh, well, how about Wednesday at noon?" Or maybe, Thursday at 2 or Friday at 10 a.m. Or, "Oh, none of those times work for me." Okay, well, how about, right? And you're sending emails back and forth. Oh my goodness, it drives me nuts. It's one of my pet peeves, is not being able to book with somebody quickly, right? So make it easy. This is where your CRM comes into play. If you don't have one, you need one. And are you using it to the best of your ability? Right? So really what happens when you have an online booking system, it's user-friendly. It simplifies the whole process of trying to register events or schedule one-on-ones, sales calls, whatever it is, right? It allows your customers to actually pick their favorite time, right? They can go and go, "Oh, okay, yeah, I want to do that. Oh, they've got all these events going on. This one looks good. That's a good time for me," right? They can just do it all by themselves. They don't have to bother you. They don't have to talk to you. It just lets them slide right in and get what they want, right? It really increases the satisfaction, and they're less likely to cancel or no show if they chose the time slot, right? Because they know it's convenient for them. So the appointment reminders reduce no-shows, right? When you think about the different ways that people connect, if you've ever signed up on someone's calendar, right? You can email them. I got an SMS. "Hey, great, excited, can't wait to meet you," right? Get the automated voicemail. So you can have one that goes out where it's like, "Hey, this is Christine. Just wanted to let you know I'm really excited about talking with you. See you soon," right? Nice and friendly. All that can be done inside your CRM. It makes sure that the clients get the information and the best way that works for them. Because for me, I get over 100 emails a day. And so as I'm going through, whoops, missed that one, right? That happens. Text message, probably will get, right? So I always tell people, text me before you email me so I know to go look for it, right? So really, when you have that communication consistently, it makes a difference. It gets people to show up to what's going on. And those personalized reminder strategies are really nice. So we've got the name in there. We've got the appointment specifics in there. You don't have to go hunt for it. Like if I get a message saying, "Great, we have an appointment," and then you don't tell me where to go, and I have to go back 3 days worth of emails to go find an email from you that had the location that I'm supposed to click on. Please send me a calendar invite. Let's make my life a little bit easier and make it so people want to meet with you. Not they go, oh, I have to meet with who? Oh man, they don't send calendar invites and I'm never going to remember this. Hold on. I got to spend the next 5 minutes getting it on my calendar. Automations are the answer to your prayers. Okay. So when you have it personalized, right, increases engagement, reinforces the importance of the appointment, and it can even build excitement. When you think about your reminders that are going out, you can do the basic ones that say, hey, we're really excited to meet with you next week. Great. Or you can say, because you know what you offer, right? And if they filled out anything on the form that helped you figure out what they offer, right? It can be along the lines of, we are so excited that you RSVP'd for our webinar. We're going to send you a series of a couple of emails between now and the time of the show so you can be better prepared. We are so excited to have you participate with us, and we want you to have an amazing webinar and get everything you want out of it. And you're like, oh, right? And then you've got another email that's reminding them, but it's also adding value. Maybe you're going to show a case study of somebody who's attended this before and the results they got afterwards. Maybe it's going to be a short little video of you sharing something ahead of time, right? To kind of get the excitement. So you can use those reminders as not just reminders, but you can also use them to boost enthusiasm, which is fantastic, right? Imagine somebody walking into your webinar or walking into your appointment going, wow, I am so excited to have a one-on-one conversation with you, or I am so excited to learn about what you're talking about, because everything I saw so far just made me say, wow, 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 I want to know more, right? I can't wait to be involved with you. Imagine everybody walking into a meeting with you, and that's the thought process going through their mind ahead of time. That would be so awesome, right? So you can use those reminders as more than just reminders. Add a little spark to them, right? Sprinkle a little pixie dust. Okay. Now, another way you can use your CRM is the sales and marketing automations. And there's some really cool ones. All right. Are you ready? Here we go. So, abandoned cart. Okay. The abandoned cart, right? We got busy, we left it, we come back and we're like, oh, right. So the personalized email saying, hey, you left this in the cart. Did you mean to do that? Did you want this? Just a reminder. Don't forget that sale's up today. Or maybe we're going to offer, that's on there. Talking about encouraging them to come back, click and purchase, right? Or the text message, hey, just reminding you, right? Text messages were more likely to open, right? 90% of text messages get opened pretty quick, right? The other thing would be the incentive offers, right? So, hey, we're having a sale on exactly what you left in the cart. If you buy now, or you can get one full price and, maybe it's a BOGO and get one half off or something, right? So you want to be able to kind of help jog them into going, ooh, that's right, I really wanted that, and getting them to come back, right? So that's a great automation. How many of us are going to be there making that phone call all the time? Like, oh, I see somebody left my website. Oh, I see they didn't purchase. Let me call them. No, nobody's watching their website that carefully. That's where the automations come into play, right? You really want it to handle that for you. And imagine 18% of abandoned carts are recovered when you do an abandoned cart email. That's a big chunk to increase your sales when you think about it, right? 18, that's almost 20%. Who wouldn't want a 20% increase in online sales? Hello, right? Just makes sense. Now, your email marketing automation to increase that engagement, right? That's that personalized customer journey, right? And your emails are sending them and guiding them through the journey, whatever their journey is. Okay, so the idea is to give them exactly what they're looking for. Now, if you remember, I mentioned about newsletters, and you could see what they're interested in. So you could have it set where they've shown interest in these different areas, and then boom, they start getting a whole new email series, right? Which is helping and targeting in on exactly what their problem is or what exactly their area of interest is, right? And if all that's automated, you don't even have to think about it. Now they're further along that customer journey, and you really didn't have to spend a lot of effort chasing them down, right? Based on their behaviors, this happened because it made sense, right? So you're getting more engagement, you're increasing the likelihood of the conversions, the more that you send them exactly what they're looking for. So you might be behavior triggered, like we just mentioned, right? So you're using that data, those automated emails, whether they're browsing, whether they're looking at the cart. Have you ever been on a website, clicked on something, downloaded something, and then not long after that, you got a phone call, or you're like, whoa, hi, whoa, that was weird. How did they know? That's how they know. Those automations, right? It could be that after this happens, or when it reaches a certain point in so many interactions, that it sends a message to somebody who says it's assigned to, hey, give this person a call. You can actually do that in there. It's pretty cool. All right. So we want to make sure everything's timely, striking when it's hot. And it's all about the continuous improvement. Like I said, you can't set it and forget it. You got to come in, you got to analyze your campaigns, you got to look at the metrics. Where are you getting people? Where are you losing them? Take a look at what's effective for your audience. What do you need to tweak a little bit? Right. So you want to change that strategy up just enough so you're getting the results that you look like. Are you putting the right content out to help them make that decision you want them to make so they follow that customer journey? Right? What do you need to do to boost their engagement? So take a look at your campaigns and say, am I getting the results that I want? What changes do I need to make? You're always trying to improve that. Now, here's the SMS side of it, right? I remember when we just used to call it text messaging, but SMS, marketing automation, right? It's fantastic for that real-time customer engagement, right? It's instant. They get it. Encourages an instant response, right? And enhances the overall engagement through timely communication. Text messages are fantastic. More people are likely to respond to them, right? Here we go. High open rates. Like I said, 90%, right? That's a pretty good number. If you could get 90% of people that open 90% of your emails, you'd be feeling pretty good, right? But email doesn't have that kind of an open rate anymore. But text messages still are hard. You have to remember that, yes, you can get the information to them quickly, much faster than like email campaigns that they may not open. It might get lost in the long piles of everybody's email list. But you got to remember also, even with emails and text messages, you have to follow the rules. There's always rules and regulations, right? Did they opt in for the text message? If they didn't, right, you can get in trouble for not following those rules. So we don't want to spam people to death with text messages. However, if they've already opted in, right, you might want know what they're interested in. Are they interested in more events? Are they interested in a product or a service, right? You can, if you're having some kind of special that's going on, it's a great time. I find that text messages are fantastic, especially with restaurants, right? Do you have a special this week? What's going on, right? Send those text messages out and you'd be surprised what kind of response you can get. And then it's a cost effective, really, when you think about it. Automating it is making it so you don't have to have somebody copy and paste over and over again, right? That's one of those time-consuming things, and you have other things that you want your employees to be doing rather than that, right? Or other things that you want to do rather than spending all your time copying and pasting. Okay, we've gone through a lot. Now we're at customer support automation. Yes, you can do that also. A lot of times the tech businesses usually have this dialed in nice and tight, right? In the larger organizations. When you think of the opportunities, right? Instant support. So maybe it's a rapid issue resolution. Have you ever lost your password? Yeah. Sometimes we forget. That happens. So if you don't have your password, what do you want to do? You want to hit that forgot password button, right? This way the system will generate a link, send it to you, click, and then you can get into whatever it is. Imagine if that wasn't automated. Imagine if you had to actually wait to talk to a live person so that you get your password so you could sign into something. Or you had to call in and talk to support every time you wanted to get into something. Does that sound painful or what? So you want automations, right? You want to reduce that wait time for the customers. You want them to be able to have access to things maybe when you're not even open, but that's okay because it's on an automation. Right. So the common issues can be addressed quickly and fast, right? So what are those common issues in your business that you might need to set up an automation for? Think about that for a little bit, right? And that would be a great thing to put some energy towards, right? What can I do to make the process smoother for my customers and my clients, right? So how can we enhance their overall satisfaction? So maybe there's some automations that you can look at that would make life a little bit easier for them. All right. Now the resource optimization, like, where are you putting your time and energy, right? So free up the human agents to tackle more complex issues because they're not dealing with those things that could have been automated, right? Improves the quality of the service and more efficient use of your people, right? So if you've only got, if you're doing an 8-hour day, where do you want to put that 8 hours? Do you want to spend the whole time doing automated tasks that you're doing yourself, but you should have automated? We did something just last night. I was working with a client, was talking about the flow on their emails. And so for the automation for the appointment reminders, actually, and we're talking about, do we really want it? And we decide, yes, we will. And we actually set it up where here's the flow, and then you can put little key values in there. So contact name and username. And so you actually have special little codes, and it'll insert based on whose calendar it is. So we ended up setting up one flow, and we actually had it set up so that each of his team members all were part of that. Depending on whose calendar was booked in, it went into the flow. And then, so we only had to build one workflow for it. It was great. We had so much fun with that. We had it done in an hour. He was very excited. Right? So where do you want to put your energy? When you can put an automation in place, it really makes sense. So whether that's through support, whether that's through booking, whatever it is that you can do to automate, explore, take a look and see what it is, right? Also, ticket management. Like I said, my IT guys, right? I'm always getting tickets like, okay, we're working on this way. The first one acknowledges it, right? And then the next one, the handwritten human version saying, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm assigned to your case. Can you tell me a little bit more about this, right? My pet peeve is they close them too fast. They're like, oh, we didn't hear from you in 2 days. Sorry, ticket's closed. You're like, no. I need more time, right? But usually you can respond back, right? There's a process in place for this ticket management, right? So it makes the customer interactions into organized tickets so that we can keep track of customer had a problem here. Now, this is the resolution. This is who we're assigning it to, right? And you can follow that whole process. So it creates the ticket, it assigns the ticket, right? So now your people aren't trying to move tickets around, right? Remember, picture the Post-it note, moving that around to everybody, right? And if it's automated in the system, we know who's in charge of it. So, oh, did this get fixed? Let me take a look. Oh, it's in the system. Yes, it did. And so fixed it. And they fixed it on this date doing this. Oh, how wonderful was that, right? And that really is going to enhance that customer satisfaction, right? Because we're the timely updates, letting us know what's going on, and knowing who we need to talk to when we have an issue. You call back to customer service. Well, you could talk to anybody, or you could ask for so-and-so, right? Talk to Joe. Okay. Then you know who to talk to. So it's nice to have that personal touch also. So even though we're talking about automating a lot, the idea is to take away from the hands-on repetitive task and to put systems in place that just make things move a little bit smoother. Okay. Now, also internally within the team, right? So internal team motivation. So that was all customer focused. Now we're talking about inside your team. So the task assignments to enhance team efficiency, right? If I don't have to sit there and look at this, decide which of my team members should work on it, contact them, tell them what's needed, right? You're spending a lot of time on kind of busy work, right? When you could have it automatic, it comes in, maybe they chose a certain area of specialty they have a question about, and it automatically goes to your expert on that field, right? Boom. Let's make it fast and efficient, right? So it makes so the critical projects become more important, right? Prioritizing tasks. Let me give you an example. Team efficiency. If you came in to an ER, let's say, and they're at the front desk and they're typing in, okay, well, what's the problem? They put that down. What if they have it scored so that the stuff that is really important gets moved to the top of the line, right? And be like, hey, that's not fair. I've been here longer. Well, yeah, but the gunshot wound wins, okay? So perhaps whatever, there's certain things that always get moved to the front of the line. And if that happens automatically, now they're not having to go through and chase the right person down because now it's doing it automatically. It says, oh, this is my next client, my next patient that I need to see, right? Those automations really can save time when it's important. So it may not be, a hospital setting, but maybe you have things that are more urgent, right? I've got a client whose website went down. What happened, right? There's like time is money. My website's down. It needs to get back up. What do we need to do to fix this, right? That's the kind of stuff you want to know about right away, as opposed to, hey, how do I add this tag to my CRM? Well, that's something that's important, but it's not as high of a priority for what I have to respond to immediately, right? So you can kind of help prioritize things depending on how you've got that set up for your team and what you want them working on, put their energy, right? So you can have real-time project updates in the CRM so you know who's working on what milestone they're at, right? As you're working down the journey of completing that project. You can have enhanced accountability culture. Ooh, right? Accountability, yep, it's very important if you want to be productive. Sometimes people don't like accountability, so being gentle about it can be helpful. But having those regular notifications, right, fosters that sense of responsibility, and that's really what you want. If you're working in a team, we have to know that we can count on people, and so now it's assigned to you. Your name's on it. Accountability. It makes it a lot smoother without even having to have a conversation about it, right? And that streamlined communication channels. So if you can keep everything central, now you know who's doing what and you can keep track of it all. So really, it helps with the team communication also. So today we talked a little bit about how you can increase your success with CRM automations, right? We talked about the lead capture and nurturing process. And one thing I didn't mention is your leads might be a lead for different products and services, right? So that they have different customer journeys, right? So you have to think about that for each of them. This is my product. Here's my ideal client for that. This is the nurturing process to get to them. This is the lead gen that I'm doing, right? And that's just this one. Now, what's my other product? What's my other service? So each one has its own, right? And there's going to be some overlap, but just remember, it's usually more than just one lead capture, and it's usually more than just one nurturing sequence. So start there, start easy, and then just build from there, right? What's your most popular, or what's your biggest ROI, right? So think about what makes sense for your business and just start adding on. Don't get overwhelmed when you start out, right? The appointment and event scheduling reminders. I love having that attached to my CRM because then all the information goes right into my CRM. I don't have to zap it from somewhere else. I don't have to download it, then upload it into my CRM. It's right there. So I love having something that's built in, the all-in-ones. Like I mentioned, I used to go high level a lot with my clients. And so having it all in there, they know that they've got them there. They've got their tags. They can invite them to things easily because they're already in the system. They can send newsletters easily, right? So it's nice to have that all in one place. The sales and marketing automations, right? Paying attention to the behaviors of your prospects and what it takes to convert them into client or customer status, right? And then that customer support automation, is that something that's important? Is that a big part of your business? Some people's business, that's entirely what their business is about, right? So you want to make sure you've got a system in place for that. And then internal team automation, right? Having the team work together seamlessly, right, is so important. And learning to work in teams, learning how to manage teams, right? That's a whole skill set in itself. But whatever you can do to make that process a little bit smoother always is a big win with the team. So if you haven't done a CRM yet, start with the essential automations, right? Enhance your customer interaction, streamline the process, and drive that growth through that improved operational efficiency, because you're going to find as you use your CRM and you put more systems in place, it's going to run much smoother, right? And strategic prioritization of automations. What that means is, what's the most important? Start there. Okay. So maybe capturing the leads, nurturing the leads into sale. And then after that, you can start adding other things, right? But make your priority list, right? And do those in order, and then just keep adding them on. So if you add a new one on every week, right, at some point, you're going to get to the point you're like, wow, I have this thing all built out, right? But if you're already have one, a lot of times we don't know what it's capable of. And I'm hoping through today's conversation that you have a better understanding of some of the options of what you can do with your CRM. And there's certain things that are kind of standard CRM-y kind of things, how they work exactly and what they call it, and the names change according to the CRM that you're using, but they kind of all have the same types of functionality, give or take a bell or whistle, right? So if you're not sure if you're using your CRM to the best of your abilities, or maybe you need to bring in somebody to kind of give you a hand, clean it up, or put some systems in place for you, we have a whole slew of marketers here at Giver Marketing Network, and we love being involved in projects. So reach out and let's see what we can do. So once again, I'm Christine Deane, the Networking Diva, Strategy and Marketing Coach. So if you want some advice about the CRM, reach out, scan that code right there, book an appointment with me, thenetworkingdiva.com/book, and you can get a free call with me. We'll talk about your CRM. Maybe you're ready to start one. Maybe you're not so happy with what you're using. Maybe you're thinking about changing systems and you want to talk a little bit about that. Maybe you just need some advice on it, how to use it to its best ability. I love those kind of nerdy conversations. They just get me all excited. As you can tell, I love CRMs. To me, your CRM really is the backbone of your business, and everything else you do ties into that. So let's get your CRM on track and functioning like you want it to, so that you can get the results that you're looking for. Because if you're in business to make money, right? So let's make some money. So once again, reach out, book that appointment. I would love to help you. And we've got plenty of team members I can pull in that have areas of expertise in all sorts of different software. So we would love to be that go-to person for you. Now, before I forget, many of you know that on Wednesdays, we have networking for marketers. So join us on, that's tomorrow already. Oh my goodness. All right. Join us on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central. That's my time because I'm in Texas, but at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 Eastern. And on Wednesdays, we do networking for marketers. This is PR professionals. This is your social media people. This is all along those lines. And this is like an open house. This is our freebie. This is our give back. This is our opportunity to get to know the community. So this is where our networkers and our professionals, our marketing professionals, like to come together and help each other. Sometimes we talk about white labeling. Sometimes we talk about the latest, greatest things that are going on in marketing, a new tool. Sometimes we'll work on something together. We really have a lot of fun in there. So if you're looking for a group of marketers that you want to talk to and be able to collaborate with, come join us and come hang out with us, because we always have smiling faces and we love having fans come in and hang out with us. So if you're a marketer, come join us on Wednesdays. And of course, every Tuesday, marketing broadcast, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. East Coast time. And you'll find us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube. We love being all over the places, but come join us on our group. We're in the givermarketing.com/group. We'll get you to our Facebook group, and we would love for you to come in there and ask questions. We like to help. And we'll see you soon. Thanks, y'all.